What's going on, you all? This is Brother D here, coming back at you with another edition of the Brother D Show podcast. And on tonight's show, we will be talking from the subject, You Made It Through. You made it through. I've come to talk to some people on tonight who have made it through another year of hardship, another year of trials. You've made it through another year. And when it seemed as though, when it seemed like you couldn't go any further, when it seemed like you were not making much progress, so when it seemed like it was battle after battle, victory after victory, but battle after battle, and it was just, positive, negative. When you went through the ups and downs of this year, I've come to tell you, you have made it through. We've made it to December the 26th. There is a few more days left in 2022 before we step into 23. You should be proud of yourself for making it through. Making it through all of the rough patches, making it through all of the different things you had to endure from January on the way down to November, and now when you're pretty much finished with December. You made it through. For some people, it was a really happy time, while other people, you really suffered financially. You really went through a lot of hardship. You felt like you was robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you had to put this aside in order for you to get that accomplished over here. But you made it to the finish line. That's enough for you to say, wow, I might not have gotten everything done, but I made it. I'm at the final week of the year. I did it. I did it. Be proud that you went forth and whatever it is that you went forth in this year. Be proud of that. Because sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. Sometimes we are our worst critics, like I said on previous shows. But I want you to understand tonight that you are not alone. You've made it through the worst season of your life. For some people, it felt like the worst because of the inflation, because of all of the interest rates that have gone up, because of all of these different things that have faced you. You stood up and said, I got to get through. It's not just going to be storm on top of storm, on top of storm, on top of storm. Somewhere, I have to make it through. Somewhere the sun has to shine. Somewhere there has to be better. And for some of you all, you've learned a new idea. You've gained a craft. You've gained a whole new skill set. You learned a trade. For some of you all, you traveled after not traveling for a long period of time. You went out and you traveled. You went out and you went to go vacation. And I'm telling you, there's nothing for you to feel ashamed of. You did it. And don't look at what didn't happen. Look at what did happen. Don't look at the glass half empty, but look at the glass half full. And I encourage you to make the best of this final week of the year. Get your affairs in order, get your things in order, and make the best of it. And I really want to speak to the people who said, you know what, Brother D, I hear what you're saying. But Christmas this year wasn't really the best. As a matter of fact, I know some people who lost loved ones around Christmas and who went through some traumatizing situations. And this Christmas was not really the best for some people. And when you run into situations like that, you just have to remember to pray for those people. We don't always understand why certain things are allowed to happen or why certain things come up around certain times of the year. We may not always understand the reasoning behind it, but we have to trust and know that even though we don't get it, we don't get the timing, it happened for a reason. And something good is going to come out of that situation. We may not be able to see it right now, but something good is going to come out of it. So I'm prayerful for the people who lost loved ones right before Christmas. I'm prayerful for those people who are going into the new year without their loved one. But I just encourage you all to keep on going. Don't get caught up in the why right now. But just keep on going and say, you know what, something good is going to come out of this. It has to, because it's been too many bad situations that's been happening. Too much bad news. Every time you turn around, you look at the TV show, you look at the media, you realize that this pandemic is getting worse in certain parts of the world. You realize now that we have blackouts hitting certain states. Blackouts in Washington state and different situations happening where now the winter time is so cold. It's so cold. They're talking about, and they've already been talking about, how the heating bills are going to increase because of what they predict this winter is going to look like. You have people, you have children, and you have people missing, and you turn on the TV and you hear about all of these different things going on in different countries. Drones flying over certain territories and things of that nature. And the reason why certain things are happening is because of the times that we're living in. I'm not going to go too deeply into that, but you have to understand. We're living in some perilous times. We're living in some rough times. But in spite of what we see around us, in spite of what has transpired, whether it be yesterday, whether it be last week, in spite of all of that, we got to understand that there's still life to live. There's still life to live. There's still a whole lot for us to do. It's tiring, yes. It's gruesome, yes. The pain can be too much at times. But we have to understand that there's a whole lot more that we have not yet seen. There's a whole lot more victory. There's a whole lot more progress that can be made. There's a whole lot more that we can do and we can accomplish. I'm not saying on this show at all that we should get into a place where we ignore certain things, even though we're tempted to ignore certain things because too much bad news and too much negativity can impact us in our minds, our bodies, and our spirit. But I'm not saying that we ignore. I'm saying that sometimes we got to filter certain things out. We can't take in so much negativity at one time. That we can't get so inundated. But we have to get to a place where we say, you know what? I got to go somewhere and I got to just maintain my peace. And that's what you got to do. Maintain your peace. You're about to finish this year, and I want you to get to December the 31st. I want you to get there and say, you know what? I'm going to leave all of what has happened, the ups and the downs. I'm going to leave that in 2022. And I have to set my mind and set my focus on how I want my 2023 to look like. You have to make that decision. You know what you've been up against in this year alone. And you got to make the choice. You got to step out and do something different if you want to get something different. And that's what you have to do. You have to step out, do something different in order to get a different result. How are you going to secure your home? How are you going to secure your finances, your bank account? What do you have in your hand that you can utilize that can be generating income? What can you do? What are you gifted at? What are you talented? What do you consider to be a hobby that could really be making you some money? And that's how we have to look at it. As a matter of fact, what do you have in your house? What do you currently own that can either be given away or be sold? We have to think. We have to get to a place where we say, even if it's the simplest thing, I'm going to utilize this in order for me to advance my life, to advance how I move forward in life. You have to be thinking ahead and not behind. Because there are too many threats and too many different things that are against us. And we have to be thinking ahead if we want our 2023 to shine. Utilize what is in your hand if you want your 2023 to really manifest and be a really, really great year for you. You utilize what's in your hand. You have to. Take the advice of other people who've been placed in your life to help you out. What are other people saying? What are other people pouring into you that you could be using to help yourself? Because sometimes people will be put in our life to help us, and we have to utilize certain things in order for us to advance. So let's get ourselves ready and prepared for the new year. But I'm going to close with this. You made it. You made it through the hardships. You made it through the ups and downs. You made it through. Even when other people might have predicted that you would not make it, you made it through. So now what is your game plan for the new year? What can you do? What can you do? Think about the victories. Think about the lessons. Think about all of those different things. Even if you have to write them down and say, okay, this is what I learned. This is where I was victorious at. And this is where this is where I have to kind of tighten up at. I have to tighten up in this area over here. And just be grateful and be thankful for the good things that did happen. Be grateful and be thankful that you're still here. If you can hear me, if you can hear me talking to you right now, you are still here. You've been left here for a purpose. And now it's up to you to find out what that purpose is. Take all of the negative that's happened, of what's happened to you. Get somewhere and get quiet and think for a minute. Think about, how can this work out for my good? I went through something traumatic towards the end of the year. I went through something traumatic Thanksgiving, Christmas. I went through something horrible. I went through a rough time the last quarter of the year. Can this be a book? Can I speak to people? Can I tell somebody my story? Can this help somebody else? It doesn't even have to be something that you sell, but it could just be something that you can say, this could help the next person. This could help my neighbor who lives across the street from me. What could I say? Even in my pain, even in my suffering, how can I help somebody else? And then me helping somebody else, that could bring healing to me. And that's how you have to think. That's how you have to think. Don't worry about the naysayers. Don't worry about the haters. Don't worry about the people who wanted to cancel you. They couldn't do it. Because why? You made it through. You got here, and you're going to continue to keep it moving. This is Brother D, you all, and I hope that this show has inspired and motivated you. This is our final show for 2022. We will be back in the month of January. For the rest of this week, I need you all, once again, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will be receiving some old shows from throughout this year. It's going to be called The Best of 2022 from Brother D Show Podcast. All right, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.